Thank you so much for making time to join us for another exciting episode of The Trading Bell. This week on the program, we shall be talking matters property, and I'll be hosting Mwenda Thiranira, who is the Chief Executive Officer of MYSPACE. And just before we get into the interview, let's take a quick look at who is Mwenda Thiranira and his profile.
Mwenda Thiranira is the CEO of MYSPACE Properties with extensive experience in real estate and property development. He has acquired acumen through hands-on experience in the USA, Dubai, and Kenya. He is a graduate with extensive knowledge on all current economic, socio and real estate matters. Mwenda majored in real estate at the University of Dallas, Texas, and real estate courses at the International School of Real Estate in the USA. Mwenda is also a member of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, Kenya Property Developers Association, Nyali Business and Residents Association, and the Rotary International. MYSPACE Properties endeavors to take up a leadership function in the property market.
Thank you so much, Mwenda.
Thank you, Bill.
A pleasure having you. I like your beard.
Yours too. You are one of us.
It's a movement.
Yes, yes.
All right, Mwenda, talk to us about, you recently got listing on the NSE Incubator Program, that is the Ibuka program. Perhaps to just help our viewers understand, what is all this about, this Ibuka program? Will it have any impact on your organization?
Yes, of course. Ibuka program is an incubator program which helps small companies, SMEs, get into the stock market, be able to enjoy the benefits, raise the capital, put the governance structure in place, and basically run the business the right way.
Yeah.
You see, the way we come as an entrepreneur, you start things in the garage. Like this company basically started in the bedroom with my wife. Then it came to the living room, then to the office, and now we want to take to the public. I mean, it's step by step. We have been in this now in Mombasa for 10 years, and we did it in America for another 6 years, basically real estate. And we want to take that further, take it to the next level, and of course, share with others.
All right. And Thiranira, real estate has been a very emotive issue for Kenyans because as we speak, the housing deficit is quite alarming. We are looking at 200,000 units required every year. At the same time, what is being delivered to the market is not sufficient. But in what I see, what MYSPACE is doing is sort of a new model in terms of how to package the real estate compared to the traditional kind of real estate we were used to. Just talk to us about what this MYSPACE product is all about.
Okay. Good. Of course, we are coming up with innovative ways of doing business. I mean, we can't be doing the same thing every day and expect change.
Sure.
We have to be innovative and change ways in the way we do business. Basically, you realize there's a deficit, yes, of housing, especially in the low cost, in the affordable sector. There's a need of many houses. But the key challenges we face today in Kenya, in fact, is not even more of houses, it's the affordability, the mortgage structures. I mean, there's no mortgage company in Kenya currently. We have less than 30,000 mortgages in Kenya. That's in a population of 40 million Kenyans. That's less than 1%.
Very baffling, I must say.
Exactly. The penetration is very low.
Compared to South Africa, how are we doing?
South Africa is like 90%. You go to some countries like US is like 98%. I mean, the mortgage there is very well developed, and the purchase schemes. Yes.
Why not Kenya?
Now, basically, you see, Kenya is a growing economy. We are living in a developing world. And I mean, each is step by step will get there. But somebody has to take a bold move and say, this is not the right way it's done, let's do it this way. Especially in realizing real estate in Kenya is not structured at all. I mean, anybody can be, let's say, a real estate agent. Anybody can be anything at any time. There are no structures, no systems, which needs to be in place to start with. For example, when it comes to mortgages, in Kenya, if you want to borrow from a bank for a house, you'll have to go to a bank, fill in documents, wait for like 3 months to get a yes or no. Then if they tell you, if you're lucky to get a yes, you have to wait for another 6 months to get financing. And if after that time, the bank does not come through, you have to go to another bank to start the process again.
Wow.
So especially for the first time home buyers, they get bored with that process. So they just give up, they continue renting, they forget about it, they try to save some money, buy some plot and build in future. But if the mortgage structure is in order, I mean, we'll go places. And that's why MYSPACE Properties is listing on NSE so that we can raise capital through a REIT and do what we call tenant purchase scheme, TPS. With these schemes, for example, if you have a building, we can buy the building, and the tenants who are there, we can turn them into homeowners as they continue paying rent. For example, if they are paying rent of 30,000,
yes,
we can tell them, let's say you pay 40 or 45,000, in 15 years or 20 years, this house will be yours. And basically, everybody has to live somewhere by the end of the day. So with this, we'll make more people, we'll make more homeowners in this country. And for the developers, you know, the key challenge developers face is uptick. So our tagline coming to this business is a guaranteed uptick. For example, now if we pay that developer off for the building and we are left with the tenant purchase schemes, people paying rent every month, the developer will go do another development somewhere, even a bigger development and a better. And then we come again. You see, it's a continuous process.
And all this is pushing prospective homeowners to consider building their own units, which is also another headache. Running around with fundis, you are getting approvals by yourself, and if you ask any middle-class average Kenyan right now, their preoccupation is buy land, build, and it is becoming the new trend. And of course, this comes at a cost. Some people buy land, perhaps it had some encumbrances, which means down the road they're told this land has issues. We have to pull down the building. And of course, it takes people to another level of depression.
Yeah, of course, what I always advise, if you're not an expert, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the know-how on how to build, please don't. Use professionals, or you buy something which is ready. For example, something small in a site, in a construction, has experts. We lose 25% in preferage. Ile fundi anaweka misumari kwa mfuko, chuma na katakata kidogo kidogo. On a daily basis. Exactly, simiti anabeba kwa mfuko. I mean, there are ways they do it. So at the end of the project, you realize 25% has gone to preferage. What you are trying to save from hiring a contractor, for example, you're trying to save 15%. Here you have already lost 25%, which maybe could have been the profit of the contractor. You get the job well done, you get it. I mean, you get it done professionally. And please, if you're doing a building, use experts. Even if you're building a toilet, use an expert. It will save you a lot of headache. Yes.
And Thiranira, looking at what MYSPACE is envisioning, how has been the uptake in the Kenyan market so far, and what is driving the growth?
Okay. Of course, the uptake has been slow for the last 2 years. The real estate developers have really suffered. Of course, this is due to tight credit. The banks are not lending to developers. They are very jittery on projects. And the money circulating in economy is not much. Of course, you know, government is borrowing a lot, local borrowing from the bank. So basically, we are competing with the bank. The bank borrows, let's say, at 10 or 12%. Mwenda goes to borrow at 14%. Government is secure. Mwenda kuna story kidogo hapa na pale. So it becomes a challenge if we cannot get credit. Of course, doing a building, any sizable building, we are talking about millions of shillings, which is an expensive affair. And we need help from the bank. We need that capital injection. So right now, if we can get other ways of doing it, for For example, not having to depend on banks a lot, having people ejecting funds from all places, especially if there's guaranteed uptick. If you talk to anybody around the world, any developer, that's the word they want to hear. And that's what we are creating, guaranteed uptick.
So what does the market have to offer right now in terms of what MYSPACE is doing? Of course, there's this agreement you've talked about, the tenant purchase scheme. What is the potential of it having a good uptake in Kenya?
Okay, of course it has happened. NSSF has done it for years.
Yes.
Many, in all over the world, it has worked tremendously. I mean, it's the easiest way to own a home. Since you don't have to go through all that strict scrutiny, again, it fits where you are. For example, we'll be coming even where you live. If you're comfortable there, you own the place. By the end of the day, everybody wants to own a house. That's a goal of almost every human being by the end of the day. To have a decent home, to house the family, and that's what we want to provide in an easy, innovative way.